On the morning the sun forgot the earth, Kairo was already awake. He stood alone above the sleeping mountains, listening to a silence that did not belong to dawn.
No birds,
No wind,
no worms.
only a black sky trembling over a world that should have been golden. For the first time in his life, he felt the light pulling away from him, as if the day itself had become afraid. And deep inside his chest, something ancient stirred, not with fear, but with recognition. Whatever was coming had not arrived by accident. It had come looking for him. Then the sky split, not with thunder, not with lightning, but with a wound of pale silver fire stretching from one end of the heavens to the other. Kairo raised his eyes and saw shapes moving inside the crack, shadows wearing crowns, drifting like kings over a graveyard of stars. A voice rolled out of that fracture and crossed the whole planet in a single breath. Return the sun's seed, and your world will be spared. Kairo did not answer. He only clenched his fist because he had never heard those words before, yet somehow he understood every one of them. The sound of that voice dragged a memory out of him, a memory too old to belong to his own life. He saw a woman made of sunlight kneeling in a field of burning grass, pressing a glowing hand against the chest of a crying child. "Hide the fire," she whispered. "Hide it until the skies go dark." Kairo stumbled backward on the cliff, breathing hard. He had no mother in memory, no field, no silver ashes in the wind. But the pain of losing her struck him with the force of something real. Somewhere in the distance, the first city sirens began to rise. By the time Kairo reached the city, people were already running beneath streetlights that should have been dead by morning. Cars stood abandoned in intersections. Digital billboards flickered with emergency warnings, but none of them explained why the east remained black. In the center square, children pointed upward while adults covered their mouths in disbelief. Kairo felt the same pressure in every street, every window, every heartbeat around him. The darkness was not weather. It was consumption. Something beyond the world was feeding on its dawn, and every second it remained hungry, the earth grew colder. At the ruined shrine behind the city station, an old monk was waiting, as if he had been expecting the end of mourning for many years. His name was Rinji, the last keeper of the sky tablets, and when he looked at Kairo, there was no surprise in his eyes, only sadness. "So it begins," he said. "The Void-Crowned King has finally found the child of the hidden flame." Kairo demanded answers, but the old man only placed a cracked stone tablet in his hands. On it was carved a warrior with wild hair, an open palm, and a sun burning where his heart should have been. Rinji told him of the First Dawn War, when the heavens tried to own the power that could ignite dead stars. One warrior refused. He shattered the solar throne, hid its living ember in blood, and vanished from history before the Sky Kings could erase his name. That ember became the Sun Seed, Rinji said. And for generations, it slept inside one soul after another, waiting for the world that would need it most. Kairo stared at the carving and felt the stone growing warm in his hands. The figure on the tablet did not look exactly like him. It looked close enough to hurt. Above the planet, beyond moonlight and weather, the ruler of the consuming dark finally revealed himself. He sat upon a ring of broken halos forged into a crown, his armor made from the remains of extinguished suns. His name had once been Seraph Fair, but worlds now called him the Void-Crowned King. He lifted one hand, and another band of sunrise vanished from the edge of Earth. "Bring me the bearer," he commanded. Around him stood 12 shadow heralds, each born from a dead dawn, each carrying a blade that had never reflected light. Rinji took Kairo to the Storm Steps, a hidden mountain temple where thunder struck the same stone every night of the year. "If the sun seed truly lives in you," the monk said, "then power alone will kill you. You must learn not to burn brighter. You must learn to burn deeper." For the first time, Kairo did not train to become stronger. He trained to remain whole. Beneath rain and lightning, he stood still for hours, fists open, breathing through pain, trying to find the warmth inside him without letting it erupt. By sunset that never came, he felt a spark answer back. The lesson ended when the first herald descended. It fell from the sky like a spear of black fire and struck the city stadium, tearing a crater through steel and concrete. Kairo reached the ruins in seconds and found the crowd trapped beneath a roof of twisted beams. At the center stood a tall creature wrapped in smoke, its face hidden behind a cracked white mask. In one hand, it held a child above the ground. In the other, it shaped darkness into a blade. "Yield the sun seed," it hissed, "or watch this world learn what a dawnless age feels like." Kairo moved before the threat had finished, leaving the herald's mouth. The child was gone in a flash of wind, safe in the arms of a firefighter 10 meters away. The blade meant for Kairo's throat met his forearm and shattered into a spray of black crystal. For a heartbeat, the whole stadium froze. Then the herald screamed and attacked like a storm unchained. Kairo struck once, twice, then drove the creature through 3 rows of broken seats. But when its mask cracked, he did not find a face beneath it. He found a swirling fragment of stolen sunrise, still alive and crying. Kairo hesitated, and that mercy nearly killed him. The broken herald reformed around the crying light, growing larger, crueler, heavier with every second. Renji's voice rang through his mind. They are not born evil. They are dawns that were broken, twisted into servants. Kairo lowered his stance and changed the rhythm of the fight.
No killing blow. No reckless burst.
He let the creature charge, stepped inside its guard, and pressed his palm to the center of its chest. The spark within him answered. Gold light surged forward, and the stolen sunrise separated from the darkness, like breath from smoke. The freed light rose into the dead sky like a lost bird remembering home. For the first time that morning, a thin line of gold returned to the eastern clouds, and the whole city gasped as one. But the victory lasted only seconds. High above them, the silver wound in the heavens widened, and 11 more heralds appeared along its edge. Kairo looked at the tiny restored glow and understood the truth. He was not fighting one enemy. He was fighting an empire built from stolen mornings. And the king of that empire had not yet stepped onto the battlefield himself. That night, Renji made the decision Kairo did not want to hear. "You cannot save the dawn by defending pieces of it," he said. "You must go where it is being imprisoned." Using the cracked tablet as a key, the monk opened a path above the storm steps, a gate of revolving light and shadow leading to the graveyard of suns. On the other side waited the abandoned remains of dead stars, chained together like bones. Kairo stepped toward the portal with only one promise in his mind. He would not return to Earth empty-handed, even if the dark wanted his heart in payment. The graveyard of suns was silent in a way that made space itself feel afraid. Giant star corpses floated in darkness, each wrapped in chains thicker than cities. Rivers of ash crossed the void like frozen lightning, and in the far distance stood a palace built from black mirrors, reflecting worlds that no longer existed. Kairo moved across shattered solar stone while whispers brushed past him from every direction. They were not ghosts. They were memories, billions of mornings stolen from billions of lives. Every step he took there made the spark in his chest burn hotter, as if the imprisoned light recognized its own grave. At the gates of the Black Mirror Palace, the void-crowned king appeared without an army, without motion, without fear. He looked almost human from a distance, and that made him worse. "You carry what I was denied," he said. "Give me the sun seed, and I will return 10,000 dawns. Refuse me, and I will consume Earth before your next breath." Kairo felt the pressure of entire skies inside that voice, yet he stepped forward instead of back. "If you could restore life," he answered, "you would not need to threaten it." For the first time in ages, the king smiled. The battle began with no warning and no mercy. Kairo struck with speed that would have broken mountains on Earth, but the king met every blow with one hand. Light burst against darkness, gold against hollow black, until the graveyard itself shook. Then the crown pulsed. Chains rose from the void and wrapped around Kairo's arms, his chest, his throat. He tore through the first 3, then the 4th tightened and drove him to one knee. "Power without origin is only hunger," the king said. and you do not yet know where your light was born." With that, he cast Kairo into the abyss below the palace. He fell for what felt like hours through a gulf filled with broken constellations and drowned fire. Then the darkness changed. It softened, warmed. Around him, thousands of tiny lights began to gather, not as stars, but as memories. He saw children watching sunrises on rooftops, old men planting trees at dawn, mothers opening windows to first light. The world had never worshipped the sun because it was powerful. It loved the sun because it returned. Kairo stopped falling. In that stillness, he understood what Renji had meant. The sun's seed was not a weapon. It was a promise. When Kairo opened his eyes, the light around him was no longer wild. It moved with him the way breath moves through a living body. The gold had changed to a deeper radiance, edged with white fire and calm as a heartbeat. He could feel every stolen dawn in the graveyard calling to him, not asking to be used, but asking to be released. For the first time, he did not force the power outward. He welcomed it inward. The answer came at once. Armor of light traced across his skin, and the abyss trembled before a warrior no longer chasing strength, but carrying purpose. He returned to Earth in a pillar of silent radiance, just as the final band of color was disappearing from the horizon. Cities across the planet had entered a long, artificial night. Street lamps burned at noon.
Oceans reflected no down.
Above the clouds, the 11 heralds were descending in formation to begin the last harvest. They never reached the ground. Kairo rose to meet them, and with every movement of his hands, another stolen sunrise broke free from their bodies and streamed across the heavens. One after another, the eastern sky began to remember itself. Hope moved faster than fear for the first time that day. But the king had not come for fragments anymore. He descended through the clouds himself, and the atmosphere bent around him like burning glass. From every continent, people looked up and saw the same impossible sight: a crowned darkness facing a lone warrior wrapped in dawn. Their clash lit the entire world. Over deserts, over oceans, over sleeping towns and shattered cities, waves of gold and black rolled across the sky like two futures refusing to share the same horizon. Kairo blocked a spear of void fire with both hands and felt the planet trembling beneath him. This battle was no longer personal. It was planetary. Realizing brute force would not break the bearer, the king abandoned his human shape. The crown split open. Halos unfolded into horns of eclipsed light. His body expanded into a colossal celestial beast woven from shadow, armor, and dead star matter. 1,000 empty eyes ignited across his chest. Below, oceans recoiled from his presence. "I was not made by darkness," the monster roared. "I was made by abandonment." Kairo stared into that terrible form and finally saw the tragedy hidden inside the horror. The king had once been a guardian of suns. Now he was the wound left behind when heaven chose control over mercy. Kairo understood then that the final victory could not come from destroying what remained of the king. If this war began when light was chained and guarded like property, then it could only end when light was given back freely. He flew straight into the beast's open chest, through storms of void fire, through screaming halos, through pain hot enough to erase thought. At the center, he found it, the first stolen dawn, crushed beneath ages of rage. Kairo placed both hands around that dying light and spoke not as a warrior, but as a promise. "You were never meant to belong to a throne." The answer shattered the crown. Light erupted upward in a pillar wider than mountains, piercing every cloud, every layer of ash, every wound in the sky. Across Earth, the true sunrise returned not in one place, but everywhere at once. Frozen fields glittered. Windows turned gold. Children cried without understanding why. The celestial beast broke apart into rivers of harmless shadow, and the free dawns rose beyond the atmosphere like a flock of living stars. Kairo fell from the sky with the last of his strength, the new morning burning around him. And for one perfect breath, the whole world felt reborn. Kairo awoke at the same mountain where the darkness had first called his name. The world below was alive with morning again. Renji stood nearby in silence, smiling as though he had just watched history forgive itself. In Kairo's chest, the sun seed no longer burned like a secret. It glowed like a steady home. But far beyond the restored sky, drifting at the edge of a newborn dawn, one fragment of Black Crown remained. It turned slowly toward the light, waiting, remembering. Kairo felt it at once and lifted his eyes to the horizon. This battle was over. The greater story had just begun.